All right, so I want to give you guys a quick review of the 7-foot Ben Gravy Easy Rider X Tri-Fin. And first I'll give you the details. It's an egg-shaped board. It's 7 feet long, 22 inches wide, 3.125 inches thick, and it's 72 liters in volume. Retails for $275. This is my transition board from the WAVESTORM. I've been surfing an 8-foot WAVESTORM. I started surfing 1 year ago, and I felt like I needed a shorter board to surf bigger days. You know, if I'd start surfing things approaching head high, oftentimes I'd nosedive on the WAVESTORM. I was able to surf bigger waves by getting way back on the tail as I dropped in, but it was less maneuverable once I got on the wave. So again, I felt like I needed something shorter. I first got a 6'2" sushi fish, tried surfing that. I realized that when I was out in the water, it was too much of a transition. Like, I didn't have the paddle power to catch waves. It takes a lot more power to paddle a short board like a 6'2". So the 7-footer is perfect. Takes more energy, more paddling power, but I'm still able to catch waves with it. And yeah, I can still get on. And also too, when I do drop into larger waves, like I was surfing head high waves today with this, no problem, no nose diving, more maneuverable when I get on the wave. So it's like the perfect transition from a WAVESTORM. And I know a lot of people start with WAVESTORMs, and there's a good reason for that. I mean, they're great. And especially on small days, I'll still take that thing out. It's super fun. And it's been a great learning a board to learn on. And I did a WAVESTORM review, which I'll link here. So anyway, yes, this is now my main board. And I'll surf this on anything from, say, like 2 feet up to like 6 feet. I could surf bigger waves, I'm sure, but still not so comfortable with, like, head high is good. That was like, today I was surfing head high. It's definitely a thrill. So yeah, overall, really enjoy this board. Highly recommend it. 7-foot, perfect transition down from the 8-foot WAVESTORM. Now, as far as other things, I'll give you some quick things that I've learned in this year of surfing, because I know some people who are tuning into this might be beginners or just transitioning as well. Let's see, I've got a little thing here that I keep in my trunk that's got all kinds of goodies in it, so I'll go through this. Number one, locking my car. I had a special key made, which I wear around my neck, and I wear it in my wetsuit. And then I just lock my smart key or my electronic key. I lock that in the car, and then I've got my key here. This was $45 to make this key, but it's great because it allows me to just lock everything up, and then when I get out, I can get in. Unfortunately, this key will only unlock the door. It will not activate the ignition. Or it will not, yeah, I guess that's how you say it. Okay, next thing, earplugs. I have these silicone earplugs, inexpensive, from Walgreens. These are really helpful because I did start noticing, it took a while, but like about a month ago, I had what I felt like was an ear infection. And I don't know, I've heard it's good to wear these. I surf in cold water here in Northern California. It's between 40, I'd say like between 48 degrees and like low 60s. You know, and I surfed all through the winter, and yeah, it got pretty cold. So yeah, you want to, earplugs help you from getting surfer ear or whatever, and ear infections and stuff. So I've been wearing these. As far as sunscreen goes, I've been using Neutrogena. And this is like a zinc sunscreen. It's 50, it's got SPF 50, and it also, what was I gonna say? It's got 20% mineral content, so it really protects you. Makes you look, yeah, like a mime maybe, but that stuff works. I don't get burned. I do find that if I get burned, like, I'm more exhausted throughout the day if I get, you know, so that stuff helps. What else do I have in here? I have my little GoPro in here. And then surf wax. Just keep this in a plastic container in my trunk. Now, as far as, what else do we got? Let's talk about the leash. All right, so the leash I use for this board is a Dakine. It's the John Florence. I didn't even know it was the John Florence model. I just bought it because it was like 8 feet long. You want to have a leash that's as long as your board. So this one was for my WAVESTORM, and I just take it off. I took it off and put it on this board since this is my main board now. And so far the Dakine John Florence, it works great. Let's see what else. Wetsuits. For the water, I'm like springtime here, I'm using a 4.3 hot line from Santa Cruz. And then in the winter, I'm actually using the Ben Gravy Hyperflex Viral, which is I think a 5.43 with a hood. That kept me toasty all winter. I do recommend booties, especially in the winter or as the water's starting to get colder, because just putting on booties makes a huge difference. I mean, if you think about it, you're sitting there, your feet are in the water. And let's see, is there anything else? I think that's it. Now I'm going to talk about some of the mental stuff or some of the things that I've learned about being out in the water over the last year. So my progress went kind of like this. I started with the WAVESTORM in whitewater as typical, you know, and I would just try to catch the whitewater and then stand up. Once I got to that point, then I started going online and looking at videos that explained how to read waves. And there was a couple that I really liked, and I'm going to link those in the description down below. I watched those videos over and over to learn how to read waves. And this is the thing. You've got to spend time in the water. There's no substitute, because what I've learned over the last year is depending on conditions like the tide, the direction of the wind, all of that stuff, it affects the way the waves break. So, you know, the place I surf is fairly consistent as far as wind and conditions go. And you can get very used to reading the waves and kind of predicting the way they break. But as soon as that wind changes, like if you start getting offshore, we typically have onshore. But if you get offshore wind, or if I'm surfing at a different time, like if I'm surfing at low tide as opposed to high tide, waves break totally differently. The timing on the break is different. So there's no substitute for spending the time out there. You're just gonna have to do that. So now I'll talk about the transition to going out the back. I was intimidated. The place I surf is pretty crowded. So if you're in that zone where you're transitioning off of, like, say, whitewater, and you want to go out the back and surf, you know, catch unbroken waves, it can be intimidating paddling out into the lineup. And what happened to me was, I remember I got there one day and I had been surfing smaller waves inside, you know, closer to the beach, and they just weren't breaking. It was just breaking outside. And so I thought, all right, I gotta do it, because like either that or I'm not surfing today. So I paddled out. There was about 20 people out there. It's pretty crowded. And what I realized when I got out into the lineup is most people were just sitting there. I caught 3 waves almost right off the bat, and that gave me confidence. I was like, you know, maybe out of those 20 people, there was maybe 5 of us that were catching waves. So that was a big eye-opener for me. So don't be intimidated, even if you just paddle out there and just kind of observe, you know, that can be a good thing to do. But yeah, like I said, now it's the same thing. I'm not intimidated at all. I've paddled out even on big days when some more experienced surfers are out there. You know, I just go for it. So, and also let me say one other thing about maybe age in surfing too. When I first started a year ago, I'm gonna be 55 in about a week. And when I first started, so I was starting surfing at 54 years old. And I was kind of worried about, like, I was a little scared in a way, you know, because, you know, just, I don't know, I didn't know anything about it, and it's like starting something new and all this. Don't worry about it. Like, I'm seriously out there. I have a buddy, Lawrence, he's 30 years old, and he was just saying the other day, he was like, dude, you paddle as hard as I do. And I don't feel any physical limitations at all. It may have taken me a little longer to get in shape, probably about 6 weeks, but I'm still getting in shape. Like, this board is working me out for sure. But if you're an older surfer or you're thinking about it, don't hesitate. Get in that ocean, give it a go. It's been life transforming for me. I mean, definitely. I'm gonna surf until I die. It is so good for it's good for you physically, but it's so good for your mental state too. So anyway, can't recommend it enough. What else? I guess that's really it. This is primarily a painting channel, but occasionally I'll do these surf channels or surf videos things, because I will say that actually I was feeling as a painter, I'm in the studio a lot, it's pretty sedentary, or even when I'm out painting, you know, you're standing in one position and it takes a lot of energy, and I feel like surfing gives me more energy, it puts me in good shape, it makes me a better painter. So that's that. All right, so I'm gonna close with a little brief clip of me on my WAVESTORM, but I'm gonna drill this board out and mount a GoPro on it. So I'm gonna do a 1-year anniversary video probably in a couple weeks, and I'm gonna hopefully have the camera mounted on this. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review, guys. Get out in the water, enjoy yourself, and I will see you in the next video. Oh, I forgot one thing. I do wax the WAVESTORM, but I did not need to wax the Van Gravy model. Okay, that's it.